All right, for the YouTube listeners, we have an update, public service announcement update for Crypto Talk Radio, found, of course, at cryptotalkradio.net. Have an update for you, and I have a call to action for you. If you're listening to this, I encourage that you share if you're not able to answer the question. But let's get the update first. Update is there will be a new program under the show Crypto Talk Radio that is exclusive to YouTube. As of right now, I don't envision putting it on the main podcast. This will be exclusive to YouTube, predominantly because it so happens to be visual in nature. This program is going to be featuring NFT projects that have a utility of some kind. What I'm saying for you is they have to have some utility of some kind in order to be featured on this new program that we're going to be working on here in the next couple. We've already done a recording with one. That's going to be uploaded to the YouTube channel sometime next week, early next week. Probably tomorrow, I'm guessing I'll have the first snippet as a sampler of what's coming. And then that audio is actually going to go on the main podcast as an introduction because it is a crypto project. So the way this is going to work is what I am going to be trying to identify, and I've already had some referrals and some interest that's been expressed, find the projects that actually have a utility to them. Those projects, I want to do the same introduction. If they want the smoke, come on the show so I can introduce who they are, what they're about, what the project is, and the reason that somebody should really care about their project, right? What is the utility? What does it do beyond cool artwork? That'll go on the podcast like I normally do. I'll treat it like any other, because essentially an NFT is a form of cryptocurrency if you think about it. So the introduction will go to the podcast, yes, but I'm talking about the other parts and pieces. There's going to be some visual pieces that needs to be somehow expressed in visual form, and YouTube seems to be the best outlet for this. So the second half of this is, as part of this build out, there is also going to be a new channel. We are now set up on rumble.com. There's going to be a channel on rumble.com with the same information so that we are in multiple places as we kind of build this visual part of the show out. Here's the call to action for you guys. We are on the hunt for NFT projects that have a utility. The NFT has to actually do something. Just so people understand, I've got like 22 to 25 NFTs somewhere in one of my wallets. I paid not one dime for any of them, and they're not worth jack. Let me take that back. One of them is worth a couple $100, but that one's like, it's whatever. So I am looking for NFTs that actually have a utility for them. They've got to actually do something. And the second part of that is they've got to have utility outside of crypto bubble. That means that whatever it is, like a good example of this is the Dolce & Gabbana NFTs. I covered that briefly on one of my podcast updates. The Dolce & Gabbana, you are literally buying the physical product in addition to the NFT of same product. So that's a strong utility because you're buying the physical something. One example of utility, I would argue, would not be that this NFT would happen to give you access to a song. Yes, that's a utility, but it's not one that I argue would appeal to the mainstream. The mainstream knows that you can just get the MP3 for 99 cents. Thus, there's no real logic to why I would buy the NFT for potentially hundreds of dollars, unless you can sell it. Now, if they said, well, wait a minute, you get the original vinyl that we pressed, the only vinyl ever going to be made, and it's going to be an NFT, and there's only going to be 5 of the NFT, let's say, and 1 of the physical vinyl, and as part of the NFT, the highest bidder gets the physical vinyl or something that is, okay, now there's some intrinsic value from a collector's perspective. That's what we're looking for. It's got to have strong value. In a perfect world, it actually solves real world problems. I'm looking for it to solve real world problems. When you look at something like the Bored Ape stuff, right? And the access to yacht clubs and potentially access to celebrities and all this kind of stuff, I got it. The artwork has to also resonate with people outside of the crypto bubble. So while Bored Ape does have some sort of a utility to it, the problem is the artwork is crap and frankly offensive to certain people that look like me. So the other rule, the last rule, is that the artwork of the NFT has to also resonate outside of the crypto bubble. So an example, One thing I'd like to see would be Bob Ross collection. Everybody knows who Bob Ross is. Everybody knows his artwork and the fact he made trees appear out of freaking air. That would be a great NFT, his art, where the physical art is not sold because they don't want to sell his artwork. They think it's collectors, and I agree. But maybe you get a copy of the NFT and it's his art. I'm 100% with that. Maybe you have something where it's from a serious video game. I'm not talking some anime or something. I'm talking a serious video game. Let's say like Horizon Zero Dawn. I would love to see something where you have different NFTs for each of the subcomponents under Project Zero Dawn. That might be pretty cool. My point is, number one, it's got to have some utility of some kind. Number two, the utility has to be something that people outside the crypto bubble care about. Number three, the artwork has to be something that people outside the crypto bubble will appeal to. It cannot be garbage art, even if it gives you good stuff, because it cannot be crypto bubble. It's got to appeal to the mainstream. Let me break down the reason that we're doing this. We're doing this to give exposure outside of the framework of who would normally, if you're already in the crypto bubble, you already are appealed in some way. We're trying to showcase and spotlight those projects that are going to appeal and help make NFTs mainstream because they do something that appeals outside the bubble. That's our focus. That's our vision. And we know that it's going to be hard to find those projects because so many projects, it's been diluted. You've heard me say it. That like with Shirio and Kishimoto and all these ones, everybody's spinning up a NFT project. And even if the artwork's cool, the problem is that it only caters to the subset 1% of 1% that care about NFTs, which is a fraction of the 8% that cares about cryptocurrency. It's what killed Pair Token, focusing on Dancing Dog. That's not what we want. We want utility NFT projects. So my call to action to you, my request of you for everybody listening to this, and I will mention this as well in the podcast. If you are aware of a project, and we did an interview with one that's going to air this coming week as I record this, if you're aware of other projects that have strong utility, number one, outside the crypto bubble, two, their artwork and their messaging and everything appeals outside the crypto bubble. I don't want stupid arts of monkeys and all this crap. I want something that appeals outside the crypto bubble to the point that a person who is holding it doesn't even really need to care that it's an NFT. They're holding it because it gives them some other intrinsic value beyond NFTs. And if they do choose to look at it, it's actually something they would be proud to hold, not because they're in the bubble, but simply because they're not in the bubble. That's what we want. If you are aware of those projects, we want that smoke. Please do go to cryptotalkradio.net, submit the feedback form, and let us know about those projects. In a perfect world, you can send those projects. We have a button down there of a guy running from smoke. Send your project, your NFT project administrators, to that button. Have them fill out the form so they can come on the show and chat with us. We'll chat it through. We will understand the project. We'll make sure that it's got strong utility and we see a future in it outside of cryptocurrency bubble. If so, we want to spotlight those projects. That's what this is for. And the hope is that we can play at least a small part in legitimizing NFTs because we believe that the correct NFTs, the correct types of NFTs have the potential to strengthen cryptocurrency in general. And the reason that we're seeing such a diluting of cryptocurrency is in part to the garbage cryptos that are out there and the garbage NFTs that are out there. I would argue that CryptoPunks is garbage. I would argue that Bored Ape, as what it looks like, is garbage. Let's fix that. Let's find the ones that actually have visually appealing types of NFTs that have strong utility outside the bubble and that are willing to face the smoke and come on the show and be featured and showcased, because at the end of the day, it's designed to help them. So that's my call to action to you guys, in addition to the announcement that we will have the other program dedicated specifically to trying to spotlight these. I don't expect to record this frequently because as I've done my research, there really aren't very many projects that meet all three of my criteria. There are a lot that have utility, but then the artwork is crap. There are some that have fantastic artwork, but there's no utility. There are some that look like they're great ones, but they don't appeal outside the crypto bubble. Like there's there's very slim few that meet all three criteria, and that's what I'm trying to fix. I want to see more that meet all three criteria. You're proud to hold it because the artwork doesn't look like garbage. It doesn't look like for children. It has strong utility outside the crypto bubble such that anybody walking the street can see the value of doing the dang thing. And it's not offensive looking art. It shouldn't offend any race, creed, color, him nor her in what it's doing. And it shouldn't look like something a child would hold. And it should solve some real world problem so we can avoid the Kanyes of the world who just trash the darn thing as a scam. Let's work together. Let's spotlight those projects. If you know those projects, either submit the form on their behalf, but in a perfect world, send them to the Smoke Forum, get them to come on the show. Let's feature them. Let's spotlight them. Let's bring them to the front because they're the ones I believe are going to be worth the time for the industry at whole.